All right, let's hope that this is a much shorter video than the last one. And I think it is because I think I did some things to set this up. I need to zoom this way out though. All right, so we are talking about graphing quantitative data here, okay? Quantitative means we can count it, right? So when I look at the number of goals scored, this is really more of a story than what I'd like to do on this video, but this is about the number of goals scored for the women's soccer team in the 2016 Olympics. And the problem is they had one game where they scored 0 and they blew everybody else out. But that one that they scored 0, they lost 1-0. And I think it was in the semifinals that year. It kind of stunk because we were the heavy favorite to win the gold that year. Anyways, so to go away from that story, this is just a dot plot. So in one game they scored 0. In 4 games they scored 1 goal. In 5 games they scored 2 goals, and so on. So each of these dots represents a game in which they scored 4 goals or 5 goals, and so on, right? So to create our own dot plot, and we're going to do that down below, for the gold medal data that is given in here, and these are from the notes that are posted on Google Classroom, but you can see pretty much, I think, the whole table here in the picture. We're going to talk about just the gold column. There's different things here, and there, as we go through this packet, we'll use that. But for the golds, we can kind of see where it went all the way from the United States at 46, which I'm not going to be able to fit on my thing. I'll talk about that in a minute. All the way down to 1 for the Czech Republic and Azerbaijan, right? So as I go to plot these, I need to just put a dot at everything I see. So I see there are 2 1s. Now look, I couldn't fit it on this line, so I made mine go the other way here. But I can kind of look at my table at the same time. There are 2 1s, so I better have 2 dots on top of number 1. Again, this is called a dot plot, right? So you're just plotting dots. It's that simple, right? There are 1, 2, 3, 4 games with 2, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Maybe you can just pause right now and probably fill in the rest of this without me. But if you'd like, you can keep following along with me. Maybe pause it, try and fill in the rest of these on your dot plot, and then just check with mine when you come back, okay? All right, because I'm going to go kind of super speed because I already know the answers to this, and you can see them all here. There's 1 3, there's 2 4s, there's 2 5s, there's 2 6s, right? I should make these more dots, I suppose. There is 2 7s, there's 4 8s, there's a 9, there's a 10, there's a 12, and there's a 17, there's a 19, there's a 26, and there's a 27, and then I can't fit in 46, right? So we're going to call this, and this has to have a label, this is kind of a big deal, Olympic gold medals, okay? And then not including USA, okay? So that's good enough, Olympic gold medals as a label, not including US, because we just couldn't fit them on there, okay? So that's the first thing, dot plot. Easy, okay? You're going to do one of those for your homework. We'll get to that, okay? Going on to the next page here, we're going to talk about a stem and leaf plot. You may have seen this before. Stems are anything. They can be single digits, double digits, triple digits, whatever. Leaves are always 1 digit. And I don't know if you want to pause it and write this stuff down where stem and leaves are always 1 digit. And the key is the key. And when I say that, it's because every one of these has to have a key to it that tells you what these things mean. And what this means here is 8/8. So this value right here means 8.8% of residents are 65 years and older for a specific, I don't know, whatever survey that they did, right? So as I look at this, this means 6.8%. This means 9.7% and 9.9%. This means 10.0% and 10.8%. So each of these represents a value. So like the values here would be 11.1, 11.5, 11.5, 11.6, and 11.6. And that's 5 values represented by each of those 5 leaves, right? And the next one is talking about caffeine in a soft drink, and we would have a good conversation about this in class if we were together today, but I'm trying to give you the speed version here. So 2/8 means 2/8 means 28 milligrams of caffeine. So this would mean 47 milligrams. This would mean 43 milligrams, and so on. So then it wants us to do a stem plot for the total medal counts. So again, we're going to use this data from the front, The total column though, so before we use the gold, now we're using the total, 121 all the way down to 10 it looks like is our minimum, okay? So what I did is I already wrote these numbers down. If you want to pause and write this in, right, for the stem and leaves. The stems are 1 to 12 because our highest value, again, was 121, right? So the key here can be any number you want. Maybe let's start filling in some stuff. So again, as I look at that chart, I see a 10, another 10, another 10, another 10. There's 4 10s. So I need to put 4 zeros for 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay? And then I'm going to keep going here. Then I've got 3 11s, 1, 1, 1. I've got a 3, a 13, a 15, and a 15 again. And again, I'm just going through and kind of crossing them off as I go through them. If you go back to that page, a 17, a 17, an 18, an 18, a 19, and 19. And yes, you need to put this in order. So as I'm going through this, I'm going 0, 0, 0, 0. Then I'm going, okay, 1, 1, 1, and then I'm going, okay, 2, it wasn't there, 3, yep, there's 13, there's no 14, see, I'm kind of checking them off as I go, right? You might want to do it lighter than what I'm doing it though, because you might have to use these numbers again, although they are posted later on in here. So then I go to 20, and there's 21, 22, 28, and 29. There's 41, 2, and 2. There's 56, 67, and 70. And then there's 121, that's it. And the key here is, and I'm just going to use 1/0, means 10. And specifically 10 total metals. Okay, we're flying through it. Let's keep going here. We're going to create, on the next page, a split stem plot for the gold metal. So again, I'm using that same data, but I'm using the gold right here, right? And a split stem splits it to between 0 and 4 and 5 to 9. And then this would be 10 to 14 and 15 to 19, because sometimes our data is so top heavy, kind of like it was here on this one, where there were so many on the 10. I probably should have split this up to see the data differently. And that's all it is just see it a little differently, okay? And so to do a split stem for gold metals, I know it started with, let's see, there was 1 twice, there was 2 4 times, and I'm getting these numbers really from this thing that we already drew, right? The gold metals, there were 4, there was 1 of these and 2 of these, so I got that all there. Or I could look back at the data, but I knew there was a 3 and 2 4s. Then again, the next one is for 5 through 9, so there were 2 5s, a couple of 6s, a couple of 7s, 4 8s, and a 9, a 10, a 12, a 17, a 19, again, because these are 5 through 9. 26 and 27. You don't write zeros here, or they mean 20, right? Don't write anything in the 30s, but then it goes all the way down to 46. And so maybe a stem and leaf plot was a little better than a dot plot to be able to represent this data. And a split stem really evens it out too, okay? All right, the last thing here is histograms. And histograms, well, go on an interval, well, from, let's see, by 3, by 3, by 3. So they're equal intervals, okay? And you need to, first of all, this is kind of working backwards from what we're actually going to do on the bottom here, just to talk about what it means to have a count, right? The count is just how high did it go, right? There's 6, there's 4, so this is up to 5 for 60 to 63. Between 63 and 66, there was another 5, right? Between 66 and 69, there was 7. 69 to 72 was down to 4. And then 2 and 2. And so if I were to go backwards and have this information to go here, you would do your number line, like we're going to have to do on this problem, and then go up to each one of them. Histograms are connected. This is not a bar graph. This is a histogram. Histograms connected. Bar graphs don't need to be, okay? So as I look at trying to do my own histogram for total metal counts, which we, again, have the data for the total metal counts right here, so I can look at that versus having to keep looking at this thing here, right? So I know that I'm going to go like intervals of like by 15. You know, you'll choose your own intervals. When I give you this quiz, I'll give you the intervals, but I'm going to go 0 to less 15, so really 0 to 14, right? And then the 15 to less 30, so really 15 to 29. And then 30 to 45, right? And I'm going to keep doing this, 45 to 60, 60 to 75, 75 to 90, 90 to 105, and 105 to 120, and then of course 120 to 135, because I know I have one of those for the US, right? 121. As you go through and you look at maybe just counting up those data points, right? How many are between 0 and 15? Well, I look here again, total metal counts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There, total, right? Because then I get to 5, and that's too far. So there's 8 of those. I'm going to write that down, 8. And then I can count how many are there between 15 and 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I'm going to put 12 here. And I'm not going to keep flipping back and forth. You can see the rest of the numbers are 3, 1, 2, 0, 0, 0, and then 1. So as I do this, I've got to go up to 12 on my number line at least. So, I don't know, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oops, that didn't work out. Maybe I should go a little less. Okay, 2, 4. Sorry, don't mind these other markings. 6, 8, 10. And, you know, we're going to get in 12, I guess, up here. It's just going to happen, okay? This goes to show you that sometimes nothing is perfect, right? Let's put a bunch of dots on here. So this is 15, 30. I don't need you to label every single point. I know I'm doing it. 45. And 135. And then you just kind of say, okay, well, let's look at what they are, right? This is 8. So I have to go up to 8. I'm going to put a little bar over here, line it up here, and there's my first one, right? And I'm not going to scratch in every one of these. You get the idea. For the next one, it was 12. So I'm just going to go from there up to 12, take this one up to 12, and connect them. And there's my next one, right? 3, which is right here for that one. 1 is like way down here. Let's see, 2 would be right here. Right? 0 for a bunch of them, and then the last one is 1. Right? This is one of those things where I shouldn't guess. This shouldn't be way up here, and I should think, like, is that 2 or 3, or is that 1? That's really the only thing you have to worry about with that. Okay? All right, and your homework for this is the practice quiz, which is this back page right here. Okay? Graphing quantitative variables assignment. You got dot plot. You got all this data here to use. You got a split stem plot. Split stem plot, right? So this looks like this one here that I addressed first of all, and then we did an example of it on this page right here as well for the gold medals, okay? Well, it wants you to do one for the bronze medal data, okay? And then you also will have to do a histogram as well, okay? That is the assignment. Stay tuned to Google Classroom for more. I'll be in touch with you on that shortly.